Hi, this is Bob Serling, and I'd like to welcome you to this free training on 3 strategies you can use to grow your profits by 40% or more. Plus, because each strategy uses assets that you already have, there's never any cost or risk to implement them. Now, each strategy is really easy to learn and apply, so by the time you're done with this 15-minute training, you'll be ready to start growing your profits right away. So with that in mind, let's jump on over and start the training right now.
Growing your profits by 40% is actually much easier than you think. That's because every business has a powerful source of additional sales that they're overlooking. That source is a wealth of assets you've already worked hard to build, but you aren't taking full advantage of. This includes your products, your services, your marketing, customer loyalty, your reputation, and many other assets that you've already paid to build. Also, because you've already put in all the time and money to create these assets, it costs you nothing to fully capitalize on them. And there's no risk whatsoever, because again, these are assets that you already have that already exist. So in this training, I'm going to show you 3 of the many assets you already have and give you specific strategies for immediately turning them into substantially more sales. And when you're done with this short training, you'll be able to use these 3 strategies to start growing your sales and profits right away. Now, business growth strategy number 1 is to capture 30% more of the visitors that come to your website with a more effective opt-in process. Now, the first asset that you already have and that you're probably paying a lot of money for is the traffic that you drive to your website. Now, what if you could capture 30% more of that traffic and get those visitors to opt in to join your list? And again, you're not paying a penny more for traffic because this is 30% more of the traffic that you already pay to get. Now, if you maintain the same conversion rate that you normally get, and you got 30% more people to opt in, that would also mean a corresponding increase of 30% in sales. Fortunately, this is really easy to do. All it takes is 3 steps, which I'm going to take you through here right now in detail. The step 1 is the structure of your opt-in process. The structure of the opt-in messages on far too many websites is absolutely horrible. Often I see an opt-in message that's a single link that says something like, join our list. Well, that's really exciting, right? But the structural problem here is that this link, this type of link, looks identical to all the other links on your homepage. And it does nothing to set it apart in a way that attracts the attention of your website visitors. And so here's how to fix this, because obviously if you have a link that just blends in with everything else and you don't attract the maximum number of visitors, you're going to want to know how to correct that problem. And here's how to do that. Every opt-in message should contain these 4 structural elements. First, a short, compelling message. Second, a graphic that draws the person's eye to your opt-in offer. Third, clear fields for entering the opt-in information. And fourth, a clear button to click in order to complete the opt-in action. Now, this structure is simple to create, and it will immediately increase your opt-in substantially. Now, another major structural problem I frequently see is an opt-in form that asks for too much information. Now, just the other day, I went to opt in to receive a white paper on client retention, and the form was asking me for first name, last name, title, email address, company name, phone number, number of employees, and at least 5 other pieces of information. So what did I do? Well, I just clicked out of there and closed the page without opting in. It was just too much information. The forms with so many fields like this actually kill the number of opt-ins you get rather than increasing them, so they don't help you in any way. Now, also, if you're targeting your traffic properly, you don't need to require this much information as your initial engagement with a prospect. As long as you target them properly, you'll know you're drawing the right people to opt in. So stick to name and email address only, and you'll get the maximum number of people choosing to join your list. The step 2 in the opt-in process is content. All content for an opt-in box should be based on a simple principle. And that principle is that you ask people to trade their contact information in exchange for receiving something. So this clearly means that you have to offer something of value as your end of this bargain. Unfortunately, far too many websites don't follow this practice. Again, join our list. There's no value there. It just doesn't cut it. The best trade is always a bait piece. That's something like a free video, a free report, or white paper that gives your new subscriber valuable information they're really going to be excited about getting. At the same time, I recognize that there are some times when it may be difficult to create a bait piece. There's some products or services that it just doesn't work for, but there's very few of them. But when this happens, your content could then be as simple as sign up here to receive new product updates and great discounts. Everybody wants to remain current, and people love to get a better price. So something that simple can really increase the number of opt-ins you get. Now, the main point here is that you must offer something that people value as your part of the trade if you want to maximize the number of people you get to join your list. The step 3 is positioning of your opt-in box. Of these 3 steps, this is the most important step. Surprisingly, if you skip the previous 2 steps, which I don't recommend, but if you did, and you did nothing else but position your opt-in box properly, you could easily increase the number of people who join your list by 10% to as much as 20%. So, what are the best positions? Well, the answer is a little broad, and then I'm going to narrow it down. And the real answer is anywhere where your visitors are most likely to see it. Now let's narrow that down a bit. The top right column immediately under your banner is an excellent position for placing your opt-in box. Since we read from left to right, your eyes always land on the right column. So placing your opt-in box in the top of the right column will result in nearly every visitor to your site clearly seeing it. Next, if you use the sliders that are so popular with today's WordPress sites, putting your opt-in box directly in your slider will attract a lot more viewers too. And that's because sliders have motion, and that motion captures people's eyes. And again, anytime you capture people's attention, they're going to see what is in that slider. And the final position that few people use, and few people even know that works extremely well, is right within your site banner. Readers always browse from the top down. So placing your opt-in box at the very top of your homepage, right within the banner, will catch the eye of many more readers, and that results in many more opt-ins. So how well do these 3 simple steps work? One of my clients recently got a 172% increase in opt-ins simply by following these 3 recommendations. Now, the best any client of mine has ever done was a whopping 2,000% increase in opt-ins, but that's extraordinary. And I'm not saying that your increase will be anywhere near this large, but at the very least, you should see a jump in opt-ins of 30%. And again, because this is all being done with the traffic that you're already paying to drive to your website, it does not cost you a cent more, and you have nothing at risk when you optimize your opt-in box this way. So business growth strategy number 2 is what's called subscriber activation. Now, this is one of the most neglected areas of marketing, yet one of the easiest to benefit from. When a person joins your list, it's because they clearly have some level of interest in the kind of products or services that you offer. But the big mistake that most businesses make is assuming that your prospects will naturally follow up on this interest on their own. Let me make one thing really clear. The responsibility of getting a prospect to convert to a paying customer is 100% yours. This means that you have to take the initiative to follow up with every prospect in a timely manner and make a generous offer that activates them. And by activation, I mean getting many of those prospects to make their first purchase. But fortunately, this is really easy to do. All you have to do is send your prospect a simple, attractive offer. I recommend doing this about 2 to 3 days after a prospect joins your list. So they're still familiar with you, they're still excited about the free bait piece they opted in to get, and they know who you are. They're going to recognize an email coming from you. Now, this should be automated, and it should be sent out as a scheduled mailing that every prospect who joins your list receives. And it's really easy to do with any email software. Now, the gist of the message that you send them should be something like this. Thanks a lot for requesting a free download of the 7 best chili recipes. To help you get started making chili that your family and friends will rave about, we'd like to give you a 20% discount on our most popular chili seasoning, the Original Texas Red Chili Blend. Just click this link to claim your discount and become the best chili chef in your neighborhood. Now, an activation email as simple as this, there's not much to it, as you can see, will get anywhere from 15% to 30% of your prospects to convert to paying customers, and to do that right away. And some of my clients have even seen conversions as high as 70% from this one simple technique. So business growth strategy number 3 is joint ventures. Now, joint ventures are one of the most profitable strategies you can add to your business. First, they don't cost you anything to do. Second, nearly all the money you make from JVs is pure profit because you have no cost involved, and you'll see why in just a second. However, most people think that joint ventures are difficult to do, but nothing could be further from the truth. At least not when you do JVs in the way that I'm about to show you right here. Not to mention that I've never shared this approach to joint ventures anywhere except in my mentoring program that sells for $5,750 per seat. So here's how this works. Let's start with a quick definition. A joint venture means offering someone else's product or service to your list for 50% of their profits, or offering your product or service to someone else's list and paying them 50% of your profits. Sounds simple enough, right? But where it gets complicated is in the conventional approach to joint ventures. The conventional approach teaches you to either focus on asking other businesses to sell your product to their list, or ask other businesses to sell your product to their list in exchange for you selling their product to your list. But there are a lot of landmines built into this conventional approach. First of all, few companies want to be the first to sell your product or service. So there's a lot of jockeying over who will sell first, when that first sale will take place, when the reciprocal offer will then follow, if it even does follow, and it creates a lot of complexity. Second, if you ask a company to sell your product only, the vast majority of them will decline, regardless of how clearly you explain how much money they stand to make by doing this. For these reasons, very few conventional joint ventures get off the ground. And that's why so many people believe that JVs are difficult. So, what's the solution? Using my proprietary approach that I call a one-sided joint venture solves all these problems for you. This form of JV, which again I haven't shared anywhere except in my mentoring program, removes all the obstacles from getting dozens of highly profitable joint ventures done. Here's how this works. Instead of asking other companies to sell your product or enter into a reciprocal agreement where you both sell each other's products, you're only going to ask them to let you sell their product to your list. The gist of your message will go something like this. We sell lightweight fishing rods to our customers and have a subscriber list of 22,000 fishing enthusiasts. 7,800 of those subscribers are customers who have bought our fishing rods. I'd like to sell your most popular fishing lure to our list. Would you be interested? Do you see what's just happened? You're not requesting a complex arrangement. You're not even asking the other company to sell your fishing rods. What you're really doing is simply offering them a way to make a lot more guaranteed sales. So in a sense, you're giving them money for free, but you're also getting 50% of the profits. And so you're getting that money for free as well. And that's why my one-sided joint venture method works so well. Because, think about your partner. Who wouldn't want more sales of their product with almost no work on their part? And all your partner has to do is to provide you with the sales copy they already use to sell their own product, which takes all of 5 minutes. And you're then going to email that to your list, and then they watch the additional sales start rolling into their website. And all you have to do is email your list to tell them about this special offer you've lined up for them, and then send them to your partner's website, where the partner takes all the orders, fulfills them, and then just cuts you a check for your 50%. And as I said, in exchange, you collect 50% of the profits for every sale that's made. And this is sweet. In fact, it's very sweet indeed, because it's removed all the complexity from doing joint ventures the conventional way. So let's wrap this up. I hope you've enjoyed learning about these 3 strategies for growing your profits by 40% or more. And I really want to emphasize that because all of them use assets that you've already invested a significant amount of time and money to create, there's no cost and there's no risk to doing any of these 3 strategies. And while they do require a change in the way you think about marketing, it's really only a minor change. So why not test at least one of these strategies in the next few days? I can promise you'll be really happy that you did. Also, if you'd like my help in doing this, I offer a free business growth diagnostic session that examines a number of areas of your marketing and tells you which hold the most untapped profits that are the easiest to capitalize on immediately. You can request your free business growth diagnostic session by clicking the link that's right below this video. So, thanks for watching this training, and I wish you all the best for growing your profits.